Yeah, you're gonna kill yourself. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Miata restoration on the Rusty Beauties channel. I still have troubles with my voice, my throat hurts, but I'm lubricating it with lots of beer, so it's gonna be better soon. So this is where we finished yesterday with the repairs here on the inner wheel well. So this was the last panel that we made and installed, so the wheel well is ready, and all the structure inside the rocker is ready. It's all painted, so it's ready to accept our outer seal now. And then on top of the outer seal we're gonna put the fender, but that's further ahead of us. First the seal. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna put the seal back on. We're gonna clamp it and we're gonna make sure that it fits well, because I remember that they're under the door. Maybe we need to adjust a little bit the gap. We need to cut it here and there to make it fit perfectly. And then we're gonna take it out. We're gonna probably we're gonna drill holes at the bottom on this flange. On this flange at the bottom, I think we're gonna drill holes for plug welds, because spot welds are not gonna work well through. Somewhere there are 3 layers, somewhere there's 4 layers, and maybe even 5. So I think best is if we just plug weld it there at the bottom and then grind it. So that's what we're gonna do. Once we prepare it to be welded there, then we're gonna paint it inside, just like all this is painted, and then we're gonna position it and we're gonna weld it. So that's the idea today. Ready? Let's get crack-a-lacking then. Alright, so the seal is installed, and you can see here, months ago we trimmed it so it matches this line inside where we cut the old seal. We made the 2 lines match pretty well. However, we still have to adjust how far out and in this is gonna go, because now if we push it, it touches, but do we know if that's exact? We don't know yet. So when we close the door, and we push this in, it sticks out a little bit. And if we go and check the other door, so this is the original, and you see how much it sticks here. It's very little. So we need to trim more there. If you can make the comparison, this is like probably 3/16. The other side is like a 16th. So, but not that much in the back, because in the back I can push it now with one hand and one knee. But yeah, if we push it in, it's gonna be pretty much where we want it. And the front too, even without pushing it, it's almost in. Like when I push it, you see it's very close. So maybe if we cut an 8 here, a little bit less than an 8, and a little bit less than an 8 there, but here we need to cut a full 8, if not more. And we also have to grind here. You see in the back we welded this patch that Nick made before, so now we have to grind it so the seal can go in all the way. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take it out. That's gonna be really tricky, because we have to work with the door open, and the door is our reference. I guess once we trim it a little bit all the way, we're gonna tuck it in the middle, because it is a little bit bowed now. It's like a bow. So if we tuck it in the middle, I guess it's gonna line up. I guess then in here and there it's gonna touch as well, and then we can close the door and check how it fits. So yeah, let's take it out again. So what we did I did just one tack here in the middle because it's a ball. So once it's pushed in here, it pushes everywhere in as far as it goes. Here it's not all the way in, but actually that's better because that's where we want it, and the front end as well. It's not fully closed, but I think we are pretty well there because we don't want it any further in, or maybe just a little, but it is pretty consistent now. Here at the end, definitely we don't want it further in, so this gap we're just gonna fill with weld. Here maybe we want just a little bit, yeah, just this much. We're gonna tack it like this, and that's when it's gonna touch here as well. To be honest, these rockers are really well made. We bought them from Moss Motors, and they're really solid and fit fantastic. Anyway, so what we did also was we took this tool and we went to the other side. Hold on. And we took the shape like that. Okay. And then we compared it here, and it is pretty damn close. So it's perfect. So you see here, even here, much as well. Now here the rocker sticks out a little bit, so I'm not gonna go all the way forward. But here, it's pretty damn good. So we are happy. So now I'm gonna cut this tack. We're gonna take it out, and we're gonna see where we have to drill holes for plug welds. Like for example here, maybe. Here at the bottom I want to drill multiple holes all the way till the end. Or maybe, oh, maybe the whole thing needs to go down. Yeah. Looks like the whole rocker needs to go down here a little bit. Because we have, the gap is too small here. It's bigger there. And then it becomes too small here. So yeah, we're gonna push this down to line it up here because you see how it is higher here. Okay, a little bit more adjustment. All right, that wasn't too hard. It lined up perfect now. And the gap is better. It's nice and even all the way. So now that we know that it fits, we can take it out and prepare it for welding. Right, so we drilled holes everywhere. I think we forgot here. I think we're gonna have to drill 4 more holes here. We're gonna do that later. But we also came and we scratched the surface a little bit with sandpaper. That's 80 grit sandpaper, so we scratched it everywhere to give it a little bit of tooth for the paint. Now I know this is galvanized and it shouldn't be rusting that fast, but I still want it painted. That's why we scratched it so we can paint it. And I was just explaining to Nicola that galvanized metal is not very healthy to weld because the galvanic coating is producing those fumes when burns that are not good for you. So we're gonna have to go around each and every hole now and clean it on both sides. And the same here. I'm gonna try to clean it up from inside here, everywhere where we're gonna weld. And then the same thing on the outside. We're gonna have to grind literally the galvanic coating away. So that's what we're gonna do in the next half an hour, I guess, because it's a long process. Okay, it's all sanded inside and all the edges are degalvanized. So now I'm just gonna spray it with a little bit of thinner and just to remove any oil. that's been sitting there from our hands, from our gloves. Let me see the page. This is true. So try to spray on the inside, don't spray on the outside here. So in this direction, then in this direction. Don't low, yeah. No. Too fast. A little slower, though. Yeah. All right, so what we're discussing here is because we don't have much time, obviously we can't finish welding it today, and especially here where it is under the door, we're gonna have to remove the door. But since we don't have much time today, we don't want to remove the door because we have to put it back to take the car out tonight for the next 2 weeks until Nicole comes again. So we're just gonna put the rocker where it belongs. We're gonna tack it and we're gonna weld it in a few places, but there's gonna be many areas where it's not gonna be welded until we remove the door. And in those areas, we already removed the galvanizing, remember, like here, for example. So these areas, when the car is outside, it's winter outside, so there's snow, there's humidity, and it's gonna start rusting. So we're gonna have to paint those, but we just cleaned the paint from there. So in this case, we're gonna have to paint them with weld-through primer, maybe the whole entire outside of the rocker. We're gonna paint with a weld-through primer, so next time when we start welding, we don't need to clean the seams again. So that's what we're gonna do. For now, we just need to wait for 10-15 minutes. This bed liner dries pretty fast, so we're gonna wait for that to dry. In the meantime, we're gonna start putting tools away because it's the end of the winter break for Nicola. All right, so the rocker is installed and it's tucked in place. So it's only tucked in two places here. One plug weld over there, one plug weld over there, and a little tucks here and a plug weld over there, and another tuck here. So that's where we're gonna stop for today because I was just explaining to Nicola that we're gonna have to put a welding blanket here and cover everything before we can weld more here. We're gonna probably remove the door, like I said already, and before we remove it though, we're gonna drill 2 holes in each of the hinges so we can position it the same way next time, even though I don't think it's gonna be a big issue, but now it is matching well. We have a nice gap at the bottom, we have a nice gap at the back when we install the fender, and yeah, we did test it with the Sill in place, made sure that it is fitting well. So that's gonna be for today, and we're gonna continue next time when Nicole is here. So for now, we're just gonna spray maybe the whole rocker. We're gonna paint with rust-through primer. So we don't want it to rust while it's outside, right? Because it's gonna be outside for 2 weeks. All right, so it's another day, sometime later, and we just brought the car inside. It was sitting outside under a cover, and it's frozen. It's -15 outside today, so it's nice and chilly. So anyway, what we're gonna do today, we don't have much time today, and we're not gonna be able to work tomorrow. So we have just a few hours, which I think we're gonna use to take the door off and weld, if not everywhere, at least the part of the Sill or the rocker that is hidden by the door. Here we can weld and grind, but over there it's really hard. So that's why we're gonna take the door out, and we have welding blankets to cover everything inside. So then we're gonna weld and grind at least that area, and by the end of the day today we have to put the door back on and take the car out again. So we don't have much time. We're still gonna put it on jack stands on this side because it's easier when it's higher. The other thing I'm hoping is that I'm gonna find here behind this cover, I'm gonna find the plug so I can unplug it. Actually, that's what we're gonna start with, because if we don't find the plug, I'm not taking the door out today because it's gonna be a lot of work. But let's see. All right, actually, believe it or not, it's 2 weeks later. Last time we started working on the car, 2 weeks ago, we just brought it in, put it on jack stands. I tried to disconnect the door, like if you remember, well, you remember it was a second ago for you. So I tried to disconnect the door, then something happened and we needed to go somewhere, and that was it. That's all the work that we've done last time. But now, 2 weeks later, Nicole is back. So we just brought it back in. The situation is pretty much the same. There's lots of snow outside. So we had to uncover the car again and all that. And we brought it in, and I was able to undo here the rubber. I removed the rubber. There was this surround, plastic surround or whatever it is, that is really hard to take out. So I think I broke it. And we're lucky. The engineers were smart enough and they put a plug here, so now we can unplug it eventually like that. There you go. So now we can just undo the bolts from the hinges and remove the door. I was thinking, remember last time I told you that we're gonna drill holes here to be able to line it up, but you know what, I have a little bit of experience with aligning doors and stuff, so it's not gonna be that hard to align it. Let's not drill more holes than what we need. So Nicole is gonna do that, and I'm just gonna watch him.
It was like... Okay, I didn't know how...
Can you just open the latch? Okay. Why is it not moving? What else? Oh, hold on. Oh, I'm stupid. Put it back, sorry. You see what I forgot? The strap. There's a check strap inside that we need to disconnect. So tighten these. Still something is holding it. What's holding it? Oh.
It's just, you have to pull this more this way.
Uh-huh. Okay. It's a heavy door. You know what? It looks better without the doors, you know. Convertible with no doors, it's gonna be perfect. All right, so that gives us a little bit more access here, right? To everything. We should blow it now with air to dry it. And this is a weld-through primer, so we can weld through it. But the whole idea of why we removed the door was to do this welding here now. But we don't want to damage anything inside. That's why I bought this welding blanket. Alright, so we're setting up Nicole here to weld, and he has lots of welding to do. So I just told him he can go ahead and tack it every 3-4 inches so it doesn't move. And once it's tacked, he can start welding longer sections, but again, he's gonna move back and forth so it doesn't overheat in one spot. There's lots of plug welding underneath that needs to be done, so I guess that's his job today, to weld this in. In the meantime, while he's welding, I'm gonna start making patches for maybe this patch here that goes over, or maybe I should make the patch for here that we need to repair. And we discovered something else here that needs to be repaired too. It's not gonna be very productive, I mean productive day for a video, because it's gonna be mostly welding. But yeah, we're gonna be showing you our progress every once in a while. We masked there with the welding blanket, so we can weld and grind here, no problem. So we're gonna get crack-a-lacking, and we're gonna bring you back at some point to see our progress. All right, so it's all welded and it worked out pretty well. Like in the beginning, he wasn't doing very well with the welds. I don't know what he was doing. I think he was holding his gun too far away. But he learned somewhere here. I showed him, so this is my weld. I showed him that he needs to be closer and to hold longer. So he's done all the plug welds underneath as well. So we're gonna have to grind now everything and probably gonna have to go and fill up a little bit. Here at some point the metal warped and one layer became higher. Actually, that's where I welded. So one layer went up, the other one stayed down. So I cut his welding, I ground it, and I aligned them again and I welded them again for him. But yeah, he did well. So now we're gonna start grinding. I couldn't work here a lot. Like you saw me, I lifted up the wires here, the wiring harness, because it was pretty low. And now I held it up with this piece of metal here. And I cut here, but he was like blinding me with the welder, so I couldn't work a lot. I just sprayed a little bit of rust converter. So I went in the meantime and I cleaned up the distributor of my GT6. I took it apart completely. So anyways, we're gonna go grind now and we'll see how good it is. Okay, so that's actually better than what I expected. It turned out pretty good. So there are some areas in which it's gonna require body filler, but in most of the areas it is pretty good. So you see here where they weren't lined up perfectly. Now the rear metal is a little bit lower than the one on the outside, but a little bit of body filler is gonna fix that. Other than that, it's great. The plug welds underneath were like pretty hard to weld, but Nick did a good job, and then I ground them and I filled some of them that were pretty bad. These over there are gonna be covered and these over there are gonna be covered, so we don't really care about them. So we still need to grind these. So now we started making the patch for here. I'm gonna make it, I made a template and I'm gonna go cut the patch, and Nick in the meantime is gonna start cleaning the paint here so we can weld this that overlaps our rocker, and then we're gonna make this one and we're gonna weld it, and that's gonna complete our front. Oh no, we still have to make this little patch here. The rear end is done, so then maybe tomorrow we can put our fender here. That's gonna be exciting, but one step at a time. So let's do this. All right, so we painted here where the bare metal was, everywhere actually, and made a patch. We painted the back and now it fits here like this. The only issue is here, but what we're gonna do now, because it's complicated to make, so we're gonna weld it from here all the way to here, and we're gonna weld the plug welds, and then we're just gonna hammer this down when it is completed everything else, because it's pretty complicated to bend here. You look at this shape, it's so complicated. We're just gonna mold it around this. Nick found the right word. There you go. It's perfect. We didn't drill holes for plug welds, but that's fine. So Nick is gonna come and weld it now. I left a nice and big gap here for him so he can practice filling up gaps. Let's see if your welds with helmet are gonna be better than my welds without helmet. Alright, it's the next day, but this is what happened here yesterday. Nick welded here and grounded. I helped him a little bit at some point, but that's how we're gonna leave it. We're not gonna go crazy because this is gonna be covered by the fender. And now I'm gonna start making this patch here finally, and Nick is gonna come and weld a little bit more here because I'm afraid that he didn't penetrate enough yesterday. And in these areas there was a line from the grinding yesterday where when we ground this part, all the metal dust came here and formed lines. Like I highlighted them now so we can see them better. I should have showed them to you before, but you could literally see like what happens with the magnaflexing in the machine shops. You could see the metal dust right on top of the crack from grinding. So I highlighted them now, so he's gonna go and weld these again because he didn't penetrate enough yesterday. And looks like we're not gonna be able to do the rear fender. I just put it on yesterday to see what it looks like, but at least if we are able to finish with this area today, that's gonna be great. So next time we can put the fender on and then we can start working on the front one, because the front one needs its bottom end replaced. I don't know if you see there, but we have a patch somewhere. Anyways, we lost another light here. My lights one by one are going off. You see it's glowing, but it's not working. Some of them, only one side is working, like this one for example. The other side is working, this side is not. The one above my bench is completely gone. So yeah, these were expensive, but I don't know why they lasted 2 years and all of them started going off. So anyways, looks like I need to buy more lights now because that corner there is pretty dark. That was the darkest corner before. Now it is actually pretty bright because it has those other lights there. Anyway, so we just lost this one last night, or this one, I don't know which one was working yesterday, but here it was brighter. Now it is super dark. So anyways, let's get crack-a-lacking. I'm gonna show you when we have something interesting for you. That's better. Look at those welds now. That's how it was supposed to be from the very beginning. Anyways, lesson learned, I hope. And in the meantime I made this patch and we tacked it. I don't think I filmed it though. Anyways, this patch was supposed to go behind this. You see, this hole here was on a patch that overlapped on the other side of this panel here. There was a round hole here that was factory, and there was a patch from inside that was covering the hole, and that internal part or that internal metal rotted. So now this patch that I made was supposed to go behind here and overlap them, and this is where the spot welds are, but I couldn't go inside and clean the remainings of the old metal, so I just cleaned them up as much as I could, and I rust converted and I painted them and made this patch so it goes and butt welds with this one. It's in the wheel well, so nobody's gonna notice, but you see here how there are multiple layers of metal here, and here they're gonna be hidden. So that's how it was supposed to be. But anyways, I tacked it here and it's tacked here, so it is gonna be basically extension of this panel. And here inside, if you see in this gap, this is where it needs to weld to that layer of metal inside. So Nick now is gonna have to go deep inside first and weld there, and then eventually weld it to the outer metal. That doesn't really matter. And in the meantime, I'm gonna try to make something for here. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. And then we're gonna grind this, and we're gonna put the door on just in case, because we're gonna need it to align that patch. All right, so this is the perfect example how you start with a little hole and you end up with a ground up restoration. So you see here we had a little hole, and I started digging around, and you see what I found as well here. So that's the top of the A post. I was just telling Nick, like, we can patch here a little bit, but I can't just leave everything underneath. But looks like I have to, because it's so much work. If we start taking everything apart, we're gonna end up with a ground up restoration, because if I cut this off, I'm sure I'm gonna find more rust inside, and where do you stop? So even though this is not the right thing to do, I'm just gonna take a piece of metal like that. I made a template already. I'm gonna put it like this, and I'm gonna weld it around, because that's the problem here, that this was a low spot. It was like a valley here, and that led to all this rust here. So we're just gonna weld it like this. The problem is that this is the glass and this is plastic, which I don't want to melt, so I don't know how we're gonna weld it here. Looks like we're gonna melt the bottom of this plastic, but anyway, there's another plastic that's broken here that needs to end all the way to here. Anyways, and then here the same thing. I wanted to change only the top layer. I started removing it, but then it turned out that even the bottom layer here is ripped from here. So now I have to make a flange that goes like this, repair the bottom piece, and then make the top piece on top. It's like one thing leads to another, and it turns into a big job. So anyways, just wanted to show you what we're dealing with here. Yeah, but I'm gonna cut it here, and that's where I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna go farther than that. All right, so that's the best I can do. I cut this rusted piece off from here, and I welded this one here. I welded it from underneath here and ground it. Now we can take this piece, which is painted already inside. Just gonna put it like this, and we're gonna weld it here. I wanna weld it to this as well, to this here. So maybe I should put it underneath, like this, huh? Yeah, that's better. I'm gonna weld it all over. And then for here I already made the patch, but it's painted, so I'm gonna wait for it to dry and I'll show you the final result, I guess. Not really proud of the way I'm fixing this, but that's the best way without taking the whole car apart, because that's what needs to happen. I have to remove lots of metal here to repair the layers from inside out. Not going that far. Okay, that's what it is. So it's all welded. I was able to lift this plastic and weld underneath. It's not my best welding, but at least it is solid, I believe. And you see this plastic here that's supposed to be continued all the way to here. So eventually we're gonna have to replace this plastic. So that's gonna cover it all the way to here. And then the fender covers this way. And the door, when it closes, it covers to here. So we should be fine. So I'm not gonna grind it, I'm just gonna paint it now, and we're gonna leave it as it is. And that's gonna be it for the front end. So now let's paint everything. We still have to grind that, and we will see if we're gonna keep going with something there or not. We'll decide. All right, we were just discussing here with Nick that we are at a good spot to stop. It's 4 o'clock, it's Sunday. Tonight he needs to go to his mom because tomorrow he's at school. So we are at a pretty good spot to stop. We're gonna leave this for the next time. Here, I showed you already, this was fixed. Now it is dark, but this is fixed, this is fixed. We ground down there. And now what's left is to put the door back on and drive the car out, and then clean up here because our tools are all over the place and I need the place tomorrow for other jobs. So no other jobs for me. All right, so it looks like a car, doesn't it? It's only the fender here on this side, actually both fenders. So for here we have this repair patch. I don't know, I've shown it to you before, but maybe some of you don't know about it. So that goes here, and we're gonna repair. We're not gonna go that far. We're gonna cut it somewhere here, and we're gonna cut this somewhere here. But we're gonna repair the bottom of this fender. And it's gonna look perfect. We just need to adjust it so we can have a nice gap here. I'm happy. Are you happy? Yeah. All right. Yeah, break everything before we say goodbye. All right, so you do the ending.
Thank you for watching. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Bye.
All right, so that's gonna be it for today, guys. Thanks for watching, for commenting, for subscribing, for sharing, for all the support. We really appreciate it, and stay tuned for more episodes on the Miata, on the TR4, on the GT6, on all the cars that we work on right now. So see you later. Bye. Rusty, come here. Come say goodbye. Yes. Say goodbye to these guys. Who are these guys there, huh? Look how many guys they're watching. Where are they? Over there. They're inside. See you.